Hello everyone, welcome to Carnivorous Plant Hub. Today we're going to be talking about the Zero water pitcher, which has become an essential part of my carnivorous plant collection for watering. We're going to talk about this today. It's a really great addition to your carnivorous plant supplies for a small to medium carnivorous plant collection. And today we're going to be covering, I'm going to talk to you about what it is. We're going to talk about cost and value. I got some numbers for here so you can see whether or not this is something that'll make sense for you, whether or not it'll save you some money. I'm also going to show you how it works. And then I'm going to give you some tips at the end on what I can do to kind of make this a little more efficient. Real quick though, before we get into that, I just wanted to let everyone know I'm super excited that I've recently partnered with California Carnivores. They're one of the most knowledgeable and experienced carnivorous plants nurseries around. They decided to hook up my viewers with a 10% discount code on all their orders. Just go ahead and use CP Hub, that's Carnivorous Plant CP Hub at checkout to get a discount. Get that 10% off. The links to their plant collections are below in the description. They have a huge selection of all kinds of carnivorous plants, so make sure and check that out. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Zero water pitcher here. This is why you're here. I really wanted to talk about these because I get so many water questions. I get so many people asking questions about where they can get water, what to use for water. Is this water source good? Is this water source good? And really when it comes down to it, it's really hard for me to answer those questions because I am not there with the TDS meter that you see on top here to be able to answer those questions specifically. So let's talk about the Zero water pitcher and see if this is something that can help you with your carnivorous plant collection. The thing you want to be careful of is you don't want to confuse the Zero water pitchers with like a Brita style system. The Brita systems will make the water taste better and they make the water much more clean, but they are not a Zero system. So basically what a Zero system is it gets rid of the dissolved solids out of the water. The dissolved solids in the water are actually what hurts the carnivorous plants. These have a 5-stage system and they make sure and filter out all those dissolved solids. So the Brita systems and those other systems, they don't do that. They don't bring the water all the way down to zero to make it pure, which is what carnivorous plants need. So it's really important to know that this is kind of a unique water filtration system and it's not like the other Brita systems that you'll see on the market. The other thing that I wanted to bring up real quick is it's important to note that this review is specifically for carnivorous plants. I have been using this one here to drink water out of. We're actually in a hotel right now because of some septic problems that we're having and we've been using this 6-cup pitcher for drinking water. So I have used it for drinking water. We keep this one a lot more clean, as you can tell. But this review really isn't to go into it for drinking water. This is more to talk specifically about how this can help your carnivorous plant collection. I just wanted to be kind of clear on that. Okay, let's talk about how much these cost and what kind of value I believe that they're going to bring to you. So there's a 20-cup version, which is bigger than this. It's actually kind of a square box and it's got the little pitcher here so that you can put it in your refrigerator or set it on your counter and use this spout. That one is $32.90 right now on Amazon. The 12-cup, which is what this one here is $29.99. The 10-cup, which is a little bit smaller, it's actually, the 10-cup's really cool because it's round, probably about this big. And what's cool about that is it'll probably fit in your refrigerator a little bit better. It's probably about the size of like a 2-liter bottle. That one's also $29.99. It's a little bit smaller and it does less water, but it is about the same price as the 12-cup. And then they have a 6-cup like this one here for $24.99. You will find links to all these sizes in the description. If you want to read more about these, the filtration system, check out some user reviews, stuff like that on Amazon. Go click the link, go check it out. I have them all down there for you so that you can compare prices. Sometimes prices on these fluctuate a little bit. I've seen them $34.99. I've seen them $24.99. So prices fluctuate a little bit. Go check it out now to see what the prices are. All right, let's start off by talking about what you're going to get with your Zero water pitcher. So what you get out of the box is you're going to get the pitcher itself, you're going to get the filter, and you're going to get the TDS meter. I really like the pitcher. It's really nice looking. It looks nice in your fridge. It doesn't look too bad sitting on your countertop. It's got a nice aesthetic. So that's one of the things that I really like. I like the blue and the white. It's a really nice looking little pitcher. The handles are really comfortable and easy to grab. So overall the aesthetics of it are really nice. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the filter. This is kind of the part of the pitcher that makes everything work here. This is the filter. Kind of show you, I don't want to make a mess, but you can see the filter just unscrews like that. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So when you have to when your filter's done and you need to replace it, that's how you do it. That's pretty straightforward. One filter for me right now is good for between 45 and 50 gallons of water. So that's really important to know. That's going to be one of the biggest factors into whether or not these pitchers are good for you is how many gallons that you think you can get out of one filter. When my water goes in and I'm measuring with the TDS meter, we are going to talk about this TDS meter here in a little bit, and we're going to talk more about dissolved solids. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's really important that you understand how the TDS meter works and all that. But when my water goes in, we're looking at about, I would say anywhere from 80 to 110 is where my water goes in at, and it always comes out at 0. And that lasts for about anywhere between 45 and 50 gallons. Every time I count, it's somewhere within that range. So it's pretty consistent that it's giving me 45 to 50 gallons per filter that I use. So what I do want to go over some numbers here, because I think it's really important to call out how much money this is saving me specifically, and why I think this is a really good value, and why I would probably never trade this for anything. Basically, where I live, distilled water is going for anywhere from $1 to $1.65 a gallon. The place where it's $1 a gallon, I can almost never find it. The place where it's $1.65 a gallon seems to have it in stock more often, and it's probably because it's more expensive there. So at $1 a gallon, the zero water pitcher would be, if I was getting 45 gallons, would be right around $45. At $1.65 a gallon, that's about $75.90. So for $29.99, you get the pitcher, the filter, and the TDS meter, all for 30 bucks. So right there, if I'm buying it at $1 a gallon, I'm saving a ton of money. I'm already saving 15, 16 bucks, plus the convenience of not having to go to the store and haul around a bunch of gallon jugs. At $1.65 a gallon, you can see it's becoming a much larger savings, $30 versus the $75. Plus I get the pitcher and the TDS meter. So you can see right there, if you're getting as many gallons as I am, you're definitely hitting a value. So let's say you're only getting actually 20 gallons. Let's reduce that quite a bit and see if that's a value for you. You would be $20 for 20 gallons at $1. It would be about $33 for $1.65 a gallon. So remember, this pitcher is $30. So you get the filter, you get the pitcher, you get the TDS meter for $30. So at $20, you get 20 gallons. You could argue that maybe that's not the best value, but for future, when you're getting these replacements, at $32.99 you get 2 filters. So that's about, at 20 gallons, that'd be 40 gallons per 40 gallons for the 2 filters. At $1 a gallon, you're looking at $40. So you're still saving about $7 when it's all said and done. Even if you're only getting 20 gallons, if you're spending $1.65 for those gallons, obviously it's even more of a saving. So even at 20 gallons, maybe that very first purchase for the 30 bucks for the pitcher and the filter, you don't quite recoup your costs there, but over the span of time, as you're buying just the filters for $32.99 for 2, which will get you about 40 gallons, obviously there you can see where you're starting to save the money, plus the convenience of not needing to go to the store, not needing to wait in line, not needing to put gallons of water in your cart, being around a ton of people. Right now, gas prices are obnoxiously high, so there's a lot of reasons why having this in your home and always having it on hand is super convenient. Also, who wants to run to the store because you're out of water and you hope that the store has some and then you find out the store doesn't, so now you're jumping around store to store trying to find distilled water, all because you know your plants are going to die if you don't get them some pure water soon. I see a lot of people on forums and Facebook and stuff saying, hey, you know what, I just had to give it tap water because I couldn't find any distilled water. You know, it's better to have tap water than no distilled water, and I do agree with that. But when you have one of these pitchers, you really don't have to worry about that. Let's talk about the TDS meter real quick. This is really important because this is kind of huge that it comes with this. If you didn't come with the TDS meter, you'd really be struggling when to know when to change your filter. So it's really important that you have one of these. And if you don't have one yet, it's really nice to have for carnivorous plants so that you can measure your water sources. It's also kind of nice to see what your faucet water looks like, to see kind of what kind of drinking water you're drinking if you are drinking tap water. So it's kind of nice to have a TDS meter just to kind of measure your water. Basically, TDS stands for total dissolved solids. Those dissolved solids are actually really bad for carnivorous plants. So that's why this is so important for you to measure your TDS so that you know where it's at. Venus flytraps, sundews, they're really sensitive to dissolved solids, and they really don't like that in their water. This is a really nice bonus that it comes with this. These are around $10 to $12 on Amazon. So it's just another thing you can look at as a cost saving or value when purchasing this $30 kit. Like I said earlier, my water is 80 to 110 going in. It comes out as 0. When the TDS meter starts measuring anywhere from 5 to 10 on here, that's when I know that I probably need to change my filter. The TDS meter is really simple to use. Pull it out here real quick. There's your TDS meter. You got this little cap here. You pull the cap off, you stick that part of it in the water, and you turn it on, and it'll actually measure. You can see there's the numbers there. It'll actually measure the water. It'll give you a reading here. Sometimes it sticks a little bit and you have to hold it to reset it, but as long as you're turning it on and off, you don't really have to worry about the hold button. This would be if you were measuring water over and over and over a period of time, you may have to reset it. But as long as you turn it on and off, it actually doesn't really need to be reset. So you put it in, you measure your water, and it's basically good to go. Overall, for me personally, I really feel like the value is there. The amount that this costs for me, the amount of gallons that I get out of it, it's almost an absolute no-brainer. So I really think the cost to value ratio is pretty huge. All right, now I want to talk about how to use it. I want to show you guys how to use this. I also want to give you some really cool tips that I do to kind of make it more efficient and easy to use. But real quick before we do that, check this out. If you're subscribed to my channel, you probably know that my dream and goal is to start my own carnivorous plant nursery someday. I honestly can't even put into words how much it means to me that you're here now, watching my video and supporting my dream. YouTube just released a new way for people to support small content creators like myself. It's called Super Thanks, and you'll see it available at the bottom of all my videos. This allows a viewer to say thank you with a monetary contribution to support my channel. You can send $2, $5, $10, or even $50 to the content creator, and you get to leave a custom comment that will be displayed as a featured comment down in the comment section showing that you contributed. If you don't have any money to throw my way, please, no sweat. You being here, liking my videos, subscribing to my channel, and just consuming my content is huge in supporting me and my dream. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being amazing. Now let's go ahead and get back to the real reason that you're here. All right, so let's talk about how to use the zero water pitcher. It's actually really easy to use. Like I showed you earlier, the filter comes off separate from the pitcher. You just screw it into the pitcher, and then basically all you do is you fill up this basin here. You fill up the basin, and you basically let the water go through the basin, down through the filter, into the bottom of the pitcher. It takes about 10 minutes for the basin to empty. The best part of that is that I don't have to sit there and babysit it. I leave it by my sink, I fill up the basin, and come back to it when it's convenient. Sometimes I forget, I come back an hour later to fill it up, and I'll have to fill up the basin a second time. Once the basin is filled twice and it's completely drained, that's when the pitcher is full, and then you can transport it to whatever you plan on keeping your water. And what I do is I have a milk jug or a distilled water jug, kind of like this here, and I basically just put a funnel in it, I pour the water in, and that's how I store it. I keep about 7 of those jugs around, and what I do is I just kind of spend a whole day filling them up. But the best part is that I don't have to stand there and I don't have to spend all my time in it. When I fill up all 7 jugs, I seriously probably spend a total of about 15 minutes of actual work to fill up all the jugs. The filter's kind of over there doing the work by itself. And we already talked about it, but the TDS meter is extremely simple to use. Pull off the cap, put it in the water, turn it on, you get a reading. Once that reading is between 5 to 10, you know you need to replace your filter. One thing I really do recommend and strongly suggest is that keeping one filter on hand at all times. If you run out of filters and you need to go to the store and buy one, sometimes they're a little bit more expensive at the store than they are if you just buy it on Amazon. So I like to order that pack of 2, and then as soon as I get down to only 1 backup, I'll order another pack of 2. That's a really good pro tip. Make sure you don't run out of filters, otherwise you're going to be running to the store scrambling just like you would if you were trying to get distilled water. I even think that they may have a way to set this up for like a subscription type service so that you can just have them sent out to you. I don't do that personally because the amount of water that I use ranges on season and how hot it is and all that stuff, so sometimes I don't need it like clockwork. But it is really nice knowing that I'm going to have a few stockpiled and that I'm not going to have to worry about running out of pure water for my carnivorous plants. Real quick, before we get into my final thoughts, I want to just share a couple of tips that I've learned along the way. I've been using this water pitcher for well over a year now. I've definitely kind of learned some tips and tricks to use it. When the second basin is full and you know it's getting ready to fill up, when that second basin gets about halfway down, what I like to do is I like to pull this out and set it sideways like that, because what will happen is the basin will actually not go all the way down. The gravity will stop feeding it because the pitcher gets full, and the basin will stay about this full. If you do this, you give it a little more gravity and lift it up for that second basin, it'll actually go all the way down and this will be empty. So that's just kind of a pro tip. If you're on your second basin, you know it's about halfway gone, just lift it up and set it like that, and then this basin will empty. Otherwise you kind of have to lift it when you're done and stand there holding it. Another thing to keep in mind, just kind of as a tip, is that when you pull this filter out, you can see it's got a little bit of water in there still, but it always is going to have some water left over. So you do have to kind of lift it out and then hold it over your pitcher for probably about 30 seconds while this empties. Sometimes you forget, you pull it out and you kind of make a mess with water all over the place. So just keep that in mind when you pull that out. There's going to be some residual water left in the filter that wasn't able to drain because the pitcher was full. Probably my best pro tip and my favorite thing about this is if you leave this by the sink and you teach your children or your significant other or anyone else in the house that knows what you're doing how to do this, how to fill up the basin, what you'll notice is that as you forget it, on occasion you'll realize that sometimes they're out there filling it for you. I notice my little son really likes to do it. He's 9, he enjoys filling it, and then my wife will constantly see it by the sink as well, and she'll even move the water from the pitcher over to the gallon. So sometimes I'll forget it for like 3 or 4 hours, come out, and there's 3 or 4 gallons sitting on the counter for me ready to go. So sometimes if everybody in the house knows what you're doing and knows how to do it, they can pitch in and help a little bit, and that's definitely kind of a fun pro tip in getting everyone involved and helping with your carnivorous plants. All right, everyone, I'm just going to go over my final thoughts real quick. I think that's about all I have to say about the zero water pitcher. For months and months, I went out and I was buying gallon jugs from like Walmart. Really inconvenient. It really sucked. There were several times where I was really upset because I couldn't find the water that I needed, and I had to run to a different town to get the water that I needed because I didn't want my plants to die. I've been there, I've been through it. Right now I have about 100 plants, and I would say that having a 112 cup pitcher is probably good for up to 100 plants. If you're over 100 plants, you may need to either have 2 pitchers, or you might want to consider getting an RO system. I'm just now getting to the point with 100 plants that it's becoming a little bit difficult to keep up with the water. I can still do it, but it's becoming a little more difficult. I'm actually starting to consider an RO system now, just because over 100 plants becomes more and more tedious. But if you're up to 100 plants, you're good to go. If you're under 50 plants, this is an absolute no-brainer for your carnivorous plant collection. I strongly suggest it. I don't think you'll regret it. The only way that this is not going to work for you in your carnivorous plant collection is if you have really high TDS in your water. If you have like 350 to 500, somewhere in that range, you may only get 5-10 gallons out of each one of these filters, and that may not be convenient and efficient enough for you, and I totally understand that. That wouldn't be for me either. I think at that point I would probably recommend getting a really strong RO system, something that can really fight that water for you. Unfortunately, there's not too many options out there when the water is that high, but an RO system would probably be your best bet. Overall, guys, I really strongly recommend checking out the zero water pitcher. Like I said, link is down in the description. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give me a like. That really helps me out. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see some great carnivorous plant content. I got a ton of stuff out there for you to go check out. Also, make sure and head on over to California Carnivores for your next carnivorous plant. Use the code CPHUB and get a 10% discount. They are awesome over there, and you're going to love them. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I really appreciate you, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye.